for a brand new show, Before the Cape, where we're going to be talking about Smallville. It'll be a fun journey as it's new for most of us here, but you know what? Let's just get right into it. Let's do it.
Welcome to the Dingus Den.
Welcome to the premiere episode of Before the Cape, where we're talking about the pilot episode of Smallville, which it's my first ever time touching Smallville. Andrew, it's your first ever time touching Smallville as well, right?
That is correct.
And then down below is good friend Ian, who... How many times have you watched this episode?
Oh, I don't know. But I've seen the entire show.
I know you love the show, and you've been begging me so much to watch it sometimes, and it's kind of, with as big of a DC fan it is, I was just thinking about this like a day or two ago of how surprising it is how little of the shows I've actually watched.
Same.
Fake fan.
I know, right? Terrible.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, no. But this is going to be fun, though, as it's new for both me and Andrew. Ian's a big fan. And so it'll be fun to see what we all think of everything as we go through, having both a mix of old and new perspectives, and hopefully also having some guests as we come along here as well to talk about Smallville. And so, if anyone's ever interested, please let us know. But this is going to be the beginning to a fun journey. We're going to figure out exactly what we want to do with this podcast as we go, because Smallville's a long show. Obviously, some episodes deserve just to be on its own, like this one, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I think this one stands well on its own to be its own thing that we're about to get into. But then I think later episodes, we're going to try to figure out how to combine some here and there, so we can try to get through the show a little quicker pace, because this show has 200 something episodes. That's years of content to get through. 214.
Yes.
So
and seasons.
How many weeks and then years would that turn into?
It's
that's a lot.
4 years.
4 years, is it? So
there's another podcast
like
that went over the whole show. They did a rewatch of the whole show.
Yeah.
It literally, I think it took them maybe 10 years to get through that whole podcast.
I do not want to take 10 years on
long.
this. Yeah, see, my hope is that we do combine some of the episodes so we can get through it a little bit quicker, but I still know this will still take a long time. There will definitely be breaks as other DC shows come out, such as the next one will be Lanterns, which I'm very excited for. We'll be putting a pause on this when Lanterns comes out, and obviously we'll know the specifics of that when release date and whatever for that is revealed. But we don't know that yet, That's all things we don't quite know yet. We'll know more as the time goes on. But we're here to talk about Smallville in the meantime, as there's so much DC stuff that we're going to talk about in between all the big new DC stuff, and we're better to talk about than Smallville, as it is relevant in some cases too, where James Gunn has pulled inspiration here and there from Smallville into Superman. One of them, I think, maybe came up in this episode. I don't remember if it was already established in this or not, but a bunch of things to talk about with Smallville, so it'll be fun. So to start with this, what was just your overall thoughts on this episode, Andrew?
I really enjoyed it. I love how they portray the small town feel of Smallville, but also too just opening up and with Clark Kent, with Lex Luthor. I thought that was cool, kind of seeing as the episode goes along that like Lex and Clark, they know each other well. They don't start out as like a rival, kind of like what we see in the movies and stuff.
Right.
I thought they did a good job of portraying, Tom Welling so far has done a good job just as portraying a high school Clark, and yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I'm excited to continue to watch the show.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I definitely thought it was a pretty solid premiere episode. It's going to be interesting, I think, for me, where I can't think of the last time I actually got into like a traditional network television show. So I think it'll be interesting to,
Yeah,
get into one again for the long haul.
I know
I've gone
20 episode seasons. We're all used
I
to these
know,
8
right?
episodes.
You're used to these short, season. My thing with it is I like the idea of all killer, no filler. Obviously,
Yeah.
that's not always how they turn out to be, but a lot of times I think they do try to make the most of that. So we'll see what happens here. But yeah, it'll be interesting. But I definitely enjoyed this premiere as well. I thought there's a bunch of fun stuff with it. Definitely some interesting things that happened, and I'll be honest, I haven't there's definitely some things I'm curious about. I haven't looked into a bunch of the things because I also don't want to spoil myself on anything. So I'm gonna do my best.
Exactly. Yeah.
Other than a
Yeah.
couple of things I have heard already, of course. I don't want to look into spoilers. And I really don't feel like I know that much. And that's one thing to anybody who is a big fan, please don't spoil it for us, as it's both me and Andrew's first time going through. And yeah.
Yeah, leave that to me.
Yeah,
Ian just goes, "Oh, by the way, Clark and Lex fight."
What? That's crazy. That's crazy.
In season 6, episode 16, this
Mhm.
happened.
What? I can't believe.
Hopefully,
you
we'll
spoiled
forget by
this.
the time we get to that episode in a year or two.
I'm pretty sure that episode is called Trespass.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, what's your thoughts on the finale? Or not finale, oh my god.
Whoa, no spoilers.
Well, let
Oh.
me give you a little spoiler. The finale episode is called Finale.
Okay, good to know.
Okay.
What is
Just so that they could have that bookend.
what's your thoughts on this premiere though?
Oh, I've always thought it was really good. I didn't start the show when it first aired. I started it. I used to work at the library, and so we'd have DVDs there, and so I was just looking for a new show to watch, and so I picked up that one. I'm pretty sure it was in its 5th season at the time when I started it. But yeah, I just watched all the DVDs, borrowed them from some friends, and got uberly hooked. And then I got my mom hooked on the show as well. And so it kind of became our show that we would watch together.
That's sweet.
So yeah, it was very good and very important. And I cried during the finale, but I won't tell you why. But yeah, I think the opening episode is just a really good start. We'll get into the specifics of things, but honestly, the meteor strike is just so powerful.
Yeah.
And I thought all the acting is good right off the bat. These are some really top tier actors that they have in the show, especially John Glover, who's been in quite a few other DC projects. He only got a couple scenes in this episode, but he'll become a really big character. But yeah, as for Tom Welling, Andrew, you were saying that you thought he was a good portrayal of a high school kid. I'm like, does he look 15 to you? Because he's 15. He's supposed to. The actor wasn't 15, but he's supposed to be 15.
Right. That's okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah. No, he doesn't look 15, but he did a good job of acting 15.
That's how I feel about a bunch of the superhero projects during that time. Looking at X-Men, the classic Fox X-Men, Spider-Man, Raimi Spider-Man, I feel like that's kind of a staple of how things were then. But then obviously too, they have to they also have to cast them.
Yeah, they want to hire older. They want to hire people that can work full hours.
Well, then also there's the whole aging thing, right? They're consistent through these high school years.
That's true.
You look at the case of Stranger Things, and you obviously see how they're kids that's going through teens, even though I don't think it's actually been that amount of years on the show.
Oh,
I believe.
Yeah, but I was just seeing that it's been so many years since that show first aired.
Yeah, it'll be almost 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mhm.
Actually, the kid playing young Clark,
Mhm.
in this episode at the beginning, without spoiling anything. They do another flashback episode later, and so he does come back,
Oh,
but
nice.
he's like, the kid definitely aged, so they really had to like kind of hide that fact as much as they could.
Interesting.
So yeah,
Interesting.
but otherwise, yeah, he definitely did a good job at like acting like insecure, unsure of himself, wanting to prove himself to the girl he has a crush on. He definitely had that vibe going on, so he did that.
Yeah,
well.
that first scene where he's walking towards her and he just falls. I'm like, what the heck, Clark? And then when I saw that her necklace was kryptonite, I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they
that
showed
was-
the kryptonite necklace. It made like
Yeah.
they made that very not so subtle, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
But and I was like, how long are they gonna like, you know, keep it a secret? And then like next scene it was like, you know, confirmed as kryptonite. Or not next scene, but like shortly after.
Right. Yeah.
Like next scene with it.
Although I don't think Clark knows.
He doesn't know, but to the viewers,
No.
we know.
Yeah. He's
Which
not
is-
gonna. I don't even think
he
I
knows.
don't
He doesn't know
remember when
about
he
kryptonite.
finds out
Yeah.
what kryptonite is. He'll figure it out, but I don't remember.
Right.
What happens.
Yeah.
Good, because we don't want to be spoiled.
No.
But yeah, let's,
But
go on. Yeah.
speaking of one, it's not a spoiler, but a later commentary. I like to watch commentaries too on episodes.
Mhm.
I love behind the scenes stuff. But
Absolutely.
there was a later commentary where one of the other actors was talking about Tom Welling's portrayal, and they're like, well, he plays that kind of blank look really well. Like, I don't know what you're talking about kind of look, whenever he's like trying to cover things up. And he's just, he's really good at kind of being the bumbling Clark, but at the same time, you totally believe that this guy could be Superman. So he's really good.
Yeah.
He's good at that balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I think all the actors did a good job. This will tell you of how little I'm like actually know of actors, and it turns out I've seen him in something else like here and there before. But John Glover, when I first saw him, I legit thought that was Kevin Conroy at first. I'm not gonna lie.
Kevin Conroy.
They look similar.
Do
if you
they?
Know, yes. I'm gonna stand on this.
Yes, Kevin Conroy. Yes.
And
I would say slightly.
I slightly. But I when I first saw that, I was like, is that? And then after like he started talking, I was like, oh, it's not him. But like,
I mean, that would be cool.
It threw me through a loop at first. But that was just a side note for me of how little I actually know people.
Well, that's why you have me.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, if you all to be like, no, he doesn't look like that at all. It's okay.
No.
But he did star in a Batman film.
Okay.
Yes,
in
that,
Batman
that
and
one
Robin.
Batman movie. Yeah.
John Glover was in Batman and Robin as a crazy scientist at the beginning with Poison Ivy.
Oh.
Huh.
I've
Anyways,
seen that movie, I think, once.
I've seen it many times. It's my favorite Batman movie. Okay.
We're gonna, you know,
We're not here to discuss Batman.
Yeah, we're not. We're
We'll
not.
talk off show. About
We
that.
have to circle back to that on a later
Yeah.
episode. But Smallville.
Right.
This it began right off the bat with how it began. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing the reinterpretation that when Superman comes to Earth, it's more than just a pod, but there's some other stuff with the pod. You know, we see more of this wreckage from Krypton that ends up with him. Presumably, that's what it is. And I like that idea that it's, you know, it has this sort of future effect on the town, and this whole idea of like, you know, it's more than just that. And so I thought it was a cool, you know, it's one of those things I felt like was a creative liberty taken. I don't mean that in like a bad sense, but like is definitely a new direction to go than what we previously knew of just Superman, baby Clark in the pod, you know, and alone, and how it typically is portrayed in, you know, classic Christopher Reeve Superman, or in the comics up to that point, as far as I know. And so I like that different interpretation. And obviously, I know with this show, and it's going to take a lot of those, which I'm open to as long as it's like interesting and seeing how they do with it. But right away, I thought that was an interesting concept for them to explore, and having it be a wider effect, and being able just to see the younger generation. Obviously, like we're talking about actors appearing older, but here is kind of the reverse, where they didn't look much older when you flash forward. What is it, 15 years or 10 years or however long it is? Jonathan and Martha.
Oh, Jonathan and Martha.
Yeah.
Oh well, adults don't age.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Right.
exactly. But
right. Obviously.
I
You get
liked
to a
how the
certain point,
episode. I like how it just gets right into the action.
Yeah.
And yeah, I liked, because I don't think in any of the movies, in the origin movies, Superman or Clark Kent arriving on Earth has that big of an impact. It's usually just like he appears in a field and the Kents find him, but this is like he's like wiping out the meteors are like wiping out the town, and like damage, and to the point where they change the town sign to be like the meteor town of the world.
and the population like doubled at least.
Exactly, yeah. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, we definitely got to see more of like what Smallville actually is, which is cool, and being able to actually explore what Smallville is in a way that the movies never explored, or even in some sense, not saying the comics didn't, but like being able to do it in a way the comics haven't, to my knowledge. Like I know there's like a Superboy comic that I think dealt with the younger Superman and all that, and we have gotten younger as actually right now as we're speaking that the Action comics coming right now deals with the like Superboy era of Superman, written by Mark Waid right now, and so like it's something DC does always go back to every now and then.
And so, Mark Waid just writes everything.
Mark Waid is very busy. He does a lot. He is a very talented writer, in my opinion. But we're not here to talk about the comics. But definitely, yes. I do want to say hello to everyone who has appeared in the chat so far. Apologize for not getting to these sooner, but welcome in Joe, who commented before the show, says, time for some Smallville hot takes. Pete makes the show. Real talk.
Pete makes the show.
Yeah,
oh no!
Oh, we got some disagreement there.
He did say hot takes. Did say hot takes.
He did.
James said, but when review of the TV show The Cape? Well, you see, before The Cape, we have to get to The Cape. So, like, technically, there's no Cape quite yet,
Exactly.
Anyway.
It's before The Cape.
Yeah.
We also have Nicole. What's up, Nicole? Great to see you here. Saying, I love Smallville. My teen years included watching Smallville. That's
nice.
Awesome. I didn't properly. I gotta have to fix the chat there. But that's just for me.
I loved when they not name dropped, but the first time he's talking with is it Lana? Is the name of the girl, right?
Yeah, Lana. Yeah.
Lana.
And she's Lana, and she goes, I think it was her that said to him, like, "Are you a man or are you Superman?"
Yeah.
And I was like, there you go, there it is. All right.
Yeah.
Thought that was cool.
Welcome in, Mr. Retro. Good to see you here. Welcome in, Matthew, who's been here since before the start. Always Matthew supporting. Thank you very much.
Nice.
And what up, the other Andrew from the Science Fictionary? What's up, Andrew? Great to see you here. But
it's like Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever the two Andrews are together, you have Andrew 1, Andrew 2, So you just got demoted to Andrew 2. Sorry, even though you're the one on screen. But
if we ever meet, we'll create a vortex in the time that will open up a black hole.
Right. You can't have the two.
Well, one of them could be together. Bizarro Andrew.
Bizarre.
Not it.
True. That's funny. Into the Andrew verse.
That's right.
But we get we get a bunch of Smallville in the past. We do get a bit, which is cool. We get to see a younger version of.
So let me ask you. Spencer and Andrew, what do you think of the portrayal of Jonathan and Martha Kent? Like, do you think they pull off those roles?
That is a good question, because one thing that immediately stood out to me, and as part of one of the special things about the show, is that generally, as we like know of them, they're old country folk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the country folk remain true in this sense, but what's different is that they're a bit younger than what we think of them to be. Obviously, this is set in the past, but
Mhm.
even then, for when Superman's a teen, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to be that many years till he's supposed
Yeah.
to go off to Metropolis and be Superman. And by that point, we think of them as really old people.
Mhm.
However,
Well,
as we
even
can
in
see,
Superman this year, they
yeah,
were
even
older.
Superman, I love them in
Mhm.
Superman, but
Oh yeah, they were great.
they're a bit younger in this. Like, they're still like the age they find them at isn't that much older than when they would actually have their own child. I feel like they literally do kind
Yeah.
of circle around that. Of
Though,
like,
yeah, they do. I mean, they make it pretty obvious that Martha can't have children.
right, but they
Mhm.
were talking
Exactly.
about like, oh, if we could, and wishing that they could.
Yeah.
Like point being is like, I feel like they're at that young adult age when there would be that
Right.
time for them to make that decision in life. But even then, still, when you look at the timeline and everything, it still seems like a bit younger version than what we're used to. And it's one of those
Mhm.
other sort of liberties taken that it creates an interesting avenue for the show to go down. And so I'm definitely interested in seeing more of them. I mean, we get to actually like delve into more of their relationship, which will be cool. And so it's one of those creative decisions that I'm interested to see where it goes in the long term. And yeah, what about you, Andrew?
No, yeah, I completely agree, and I kind of like them being a bit younger, because knowing that the show's 10 seasons, bearing no spoilers, assuming they make it till then, it'll be cool to watch them grow with Clark. And I like them being a bit younger. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved Mom, Pa Kent, and
Yeah,
Superman as older, but it was kind of nice seeing a slightly different take on that. And that's what I'm getting out of this show, is it's
yeah,
gonna follow some things pretty close, but then a little bit it's gonna feel different, which will be nice. So
yeah. No, I think that's what sets it apart. Is just from what the
Mhm.
vibe I get is that it makes a bunch of differences, but at the same time, it tries to be really respectful to what everything is at the same time. And that's part of the reason of like why I really like a bunch of comic book stuff to begin with. Is I've never been one of those quote unquote comic purists, right? Of
Mhm.
like, how people
It has
think,
to follow panel for panel.
yeah, right, like how a
Mhm.
character has to be one way. I personally, and one of the reasons why I love comics is because you can have writers having different takes on the same character, but at the end of the day, they could still all be that character despite the different version of the character. And so I I like when projects can take on these creative liberties as long as it remains true to who the characters and what the subject matter is.
Mhm.
And that's what I care about most. So,
Agreed.
and the show, I mean, obviously, me and Andrew are just one episode in, but I think
Mhm.
so far, all the characters have been set up in a way that seems faithful to how I know of the characters.
Well, one thing I did notice too that was nice with watching this episode compared to some of the episodes of TV we get nowadays is for basically a 40-minute episode. And I know it's a pilot, but a lot happens.
This
I
is
was
true.
realizing towards the end, I was like, wow, there were all these different plot points that were going on.
We got a
Um,
lot.
yeah, which was nice. I
It
enjoyed that.
is
So
48 minutes long, which
yeah.
is longer than the typical episode.
Mhm.
Um, but also, I don't know if this is when it first aired, but sometimes they actually put the first episode and the second episode aired together as one thing.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
But that it's not definitely there's not a as you guys know, there's not really a cliffhanger ending,
Right.
Yeah.
so it's not
No,
necessary.
yeah.
But it's interesting.
Mhm.
But a
Cool,
lot
cool.
did happen. Yes.
Yeah. One of the things I found interesting, and this is a very important plot point in the episode, is the whole Smallville tradition of on the
Yeah, that was crazy.
being tied up to.
Oh, yeah.
Also, that's how Lex loses his hair. That was crazy.
That was a little weird. I was like, do you have to be bald right off the bat? I was
mean,
one of the things I was kind of surprised by, because in a lot of iterations we do see Lex begin with hair and then he loses it later on,
Yeah,
and so I don't know.
but
I
this
just,
is crazy
I
with the Scarecrow.
yes, that was. I feel like it was such a messed up tradition as well. Like I was
do you
like,
guys have any like that you knew of like hazing experiences at your high schools?
I was
No.
homeschooled, so no.
Okay.
I didn't get into that stuff. I was very like closed in school. I still kind of am, to be honest. I'm not an extrovert when I go out to these places or whatever. So like, so no. I long answer to no. I have not.
It is just kind of crazy that something that extreme
Mhm.
Yeah.
is allowed to last that long.
Exactly. That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking.
Like
I was
part of me
dang,
feels like
Bill.
there's no way that some like teachers and stuff don't know about this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy. I think
Like a freshman just disappears and they go, eh.
I think the point
Well,
is
not fully disappeared, like he
Well, yeah,
disappeared, but like it
True.
continuously happens. Like no kid ever reported this,
Right.
yeah.
but I guess
Maybe they tried to, and everyone was like, grow up or something, you know?
that's true. Toughen up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're just having some fun. Come on.
Yeah. You're right.
This one in particular, though, is definitely one of those cases where it is
It is a
what
little
it actually
concerning.
is very like comically out there in a sense of like, oh, they're just gonna strip him down to his boxers and paint an S on him. You know, yeah, it definitely a bit out there. And I remember when thinking of it, I was like, what's wrong with these people?
Yeah.
Seeing Lex run into one at the beginning, seeing how him losing his hair that way was like weird to me. Like, I don't know, that being the way he loses his hair felt a little
Well, like
forced
how
to
does
me.
he lose his hair in some of the other stuff? I don't remember everything about.
In the original Superman movie, he wears a wig. So I don't know exactly how he loses his hair.
Okay, so there's no
Um,
explanation there. Is
In
there an
Batman vs
explanation like in
Superman,
comics and
he's
stuff?
not bald. I don't remember. I think this is the first time it's really shown that
A
I've
lot of
seen on screen.
Times it determines
know.
on the like like the iteration, like Superman for All Seasons. It shows him having hair the entire time, being like for me it felt like a Gene Hackman like Luthor is the vibe they were going for when reading that comic. And so like some of these early interpretations do just show him with hair. Some other times I don't remember the cause for why he would lose it though. Like I said, it's cool to see Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah, I like that
bald.
there's a link between that and Clark in a way. Like Clark's arrival
Exactly.
affected everyone.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was really interesting about it, is that you see the effect on everyone. It's not just like he just showed up and no one knows, you know?
Yeah, like as it seemed to be before, right? And
Exactly.
so it's one of the things that help make it unique.
Some people he was a gift. Other people he was doom, literally.
Yeah.
Other people, it was something that probably got them made fun of a lot in school.
Yeah.
With
Very
the no
possible.
hair thing.
Nicole said, I feel like the late 90s is when they began taking hazing seriously. Think Dazed and Confused.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but yeah, no, definitely, product of its time. When did the show debut? What year did this come out?
2001.
Right?
Okay.
Because I know I listened to a little bit of our rival podcast, Talkville, who stole our idea 3 years ago. But they were talking about they even had to shoot some of, I think this episode or some of the early episodes. Yeah, it was 01. So
okay,
yeah.
Nice.
Wait, you watched Talkville without having watched the show?
No. I didn't start it until after I watched the episode.
Oh, okay.
I had heard of it prior to this, but I never started it without watching the show.
But you just watched the first episode,
Hmm.
and you then went and looked at their podcast.
Yeah, I
You
was checking
shouldn't
it
do
out.
that. They're gonna spoil things. They're a retrospective podcast.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch the whole episode. I watched like the first few minutes just to see what
Okay.
it was like, and then
Okay.
I was like,
Okay.
I probably shouldn't watch this yet. Yeah, so
Yeah, I
I
thought
haven't been
it'd be
spoiled
fun
on
to.
anything yet.
I thought it'd be fun to listen along with it as I watch, but you do bring up a good point, Ian, of like they could spoil stuff.
Yeah, what if they're like,
They will.
yeah, this
They
sets
will.
up
Okay,
when,
noted. Well,
They
and
also
here we don't
they
spoil things
also
unless it's the
are.
end.
I haven't watched too many of those, especially because one of my friends told me that they didn't really like it. Because as actors on a show who this was their job and it was like a day after day thing, they're not exactly fans. They
Sure.
come at things
Yeah.
from a more realism perspective and are often kind of negative about things. So you might not want to watch that till later because that might like skew your own opinions.
Yeah,
That's very fair.
it was cool because when I was at Fan Expo earlier in the year, Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling were both there.
Mm.
I didn't have a chance to meet them directly just because I was busy with other things that weekend, but I did see them there.
That's cool.
So yeah,
It got announced in Lexington. It got announced yesterday that in Lexington, the person who plays the father, Jonathan Kent,
nice.
will be coming to town, so that'll be fun.
Yeah,
Just like Santa Claus.
yeah.
Oh. Yeah, he'll look at me a little weird when I request him to put on the Santa Claus outfit for a picture. But
You say, hey, why don't you come on the show?
Yeah,
that'd be a pretty big get.
Yeah.
Be pretty
John
cool.
Snyder.
Yeah. But yeah, no, there's definitely a really good premiere episode. We got to see a bit of the past as we were talking about. Trying to see if there's any other specific points.
Oh, Luther Luther hits Clark with his car.
Yeah.
That was a cool scene because Luther's like, I thought I hit you. And then he sees in the cars being brought up that the roof was, like ripped off.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of speculates there. Something's different with this kid,
Yeah. It's interesting.
Like what's going on here,
Yeah, it's interesting because we see Clark's journey of where I don't think is near until closer to like 3/4 of the way through the episode where he kind of like realizes that he's different himself. Like,
I mean,
yeah,
he knows
right,
he has
exactly.
powers.
like, yeah.
He talks about with his dad about being normal,
Yeah, like he knows he could run faster and that he has abilities there. But after once he talks to his dad in that normal conversation, you get a sense that he hasn't really fully gripped with it or anything yet. Like it was a sense of where the conversation read to me like he was just kind of now understanding how different he is in some cases.
Yeah.
And so
I do think that, and again, this doesn't spoil anything, but I do think that it's revealed as you go that his abilities have kind of been slowly developing.
that makes sense.
Like we saw
Yeah.
that he had super strength as
Sure.
a child.
Mm-hmm.
They did show that, right?
No, the only thing we see with him so far as a kid is just them finding him.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. But
Watch that be in the next episode, and we're like, dang it.
Well, we do see that though in like the original Superman though. Like that's
Right, yeah.
like
He
that
lifts
is a
the
general
car up,
lore
yeah.
thing I do, think of Superman though, So
Okay.
like, I'm not surprised by that though. Like,
but yeah,
by
it's
any
like
means.
as he ages, as he grows, his powers like develop. Like he gets stronger, he gets more resilient. So yeah, it's very possible that he hasn't, always fully been as strong as he's been, or as invulnerable as he's been.
I think a good way to put it, in a sense, is maybe the events of this episode is the first time when he realized that he is a super being to the fullest
Mhm.
sense of, he realized he can't be hurt like other people. He's not
Yeah.
somebody that can just run really fast or is really strong. As you see people that can be really fast or really strong. He just doesn't know how much better he is than people in that aspect.
Didn't know he was an alien.
Yeah,
Exactly. And
exactly.
he even doesn't believe his dad when he shows him the pod that he came in.
Yeah.
But that is
He's
something
like-
I did find interesting, is that he does know that he's adopted, because
Yeah.
in other media, I don't know how much other media, but Spencer, you and I were looking at that Man of Steel comic written by
John Byrne.
was it Man of Steel?
Man of Steel is what we were most recently talked about. Yeah.
Okay, the one with who's it written by?
John Byrne.
Yes, John Byrne. Okay, that one. That one, he didn't even know he was adopted. So I don't know how often that is in other media, but yeah, here at least, he's always known that he's been adopted,
Yeah.
but just didn't know to what extent.
Mhm.
Yeah. That
And-
is true. Good
Like
point.
Jonathan Kent shows him that piece with the writing, and Clark says, "What does it say?" And Jonathan Kent says, "I don't know. It's some form of Elvish. There are a few who can read it."
Yeah.
And so maybe that'll come back to play. And
I do really like the making that Kryptonian's a thing that they don't know. They don't know the language.
Yeah.
That's a thing in that comic that's apparent, that when they speak, like, he doesn't know it. We also see that in Superman, like, they don't know it, or he doesn't know it, and so, like, it's cool. I like how they may do that stuff, making it that alien writing where they don't know. It's
Yeah,
I like how
that
they do it.
there's not something within his brain that automatically knows.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no fish in the ear that automatically translate things,
Yeah, he wasn't just like, "Oh yeah, that says da 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 da,"
No, absolutely. That's cool.
Mhm.
I did enjoy that.
What do you think it would say, though? Like, do you think it's like a letter from his parents?
like on the pod?
Like, it's that tablet, right? It's like,
Yeah, no, I wonder if it
With the
just
tablet,
says
like-
like, yeah, I wonder
maybe it's
because
like a
in,
warranty for the pod.
yeah, you must. This is a 2-year lease. You must return it. Yeah, I don't know, because I know, and I know not to compare, but I know, like, in Superman, he has like the message from his parents. So I wonder if it's
It's
some.
hard for me not to link it to that after
That-
having
that was
watched
my-
it.
yeah.
I know, right? That's exactly where my mind was going, as being something like that. And we're talking about
Mhm.
John Byrne's Man of Steel there, where they show Superman's parents in a way like that's where James Gunn got the thing is
Oh, okay,
from that
interesting.
comic, which I
That's-
found very interesting.
Wait, what was the same thing? I haven't seen the James Gunn movie.
Oh,
the-
it's so good.
Yes, you do need to watch it. But it's the way without saying too much, the way Superman's parents are portrayed are a little bit more in line with how the comic is than other versions of his origin.
But what was the inspiration that you said came from Smallville?
No, we're thinking
Talking
we're
about
linking
from
Superman. We're thinking that
Yeah.
it could be like some kind of written message from his parents that maybe
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, yeah,
not like a full message, because it didn't look like a lot of writing, but maybe something in
Right.
Kryptonian that gives him
Yeah.
an idea of why he was sent to Earth,
yeah,
potentially.
yeah, exactly.
Because I don't think they would just tease that and it mean like nothing. Like, I'm sure
Yeah,
it's gonna mean something, and probably
definitely.
important.
I would think so, or at least
Mhm.
I'd hope so.
Is
Right, exactly.
it for someone like Spencer, Andrew? I don't know how big of a comic fan you are, but at least for Spencer, is Kryptonian a language that, like Klingon, it's an actual language? People, you can look up translations. Can you look up translations of Kryptonian?
I don't. To my
Although
knowledge,
think
I don't.
sure
Yeah,
how you
to-
would type those symbols.
To my knowledge, I don't know of any thought out comic languages.
Okay,
So I'm not.
just don't know if we could decipher it right now.
It would be cool
just-
though.
There's an online tool. This says Kryptonian language translator. Let me see if it actually allows symbols.
It's probably one of those things where it's like airbrush from Star Wars.
Oh, you would have
would
to
think it'd be like
know
that.
what it's So this is something where you'd have to know what it is in English to see what it is in Kryptonian. So that doesn't help
Yeah.
us.
Mhm.
All right, never mind.
Okay.
Lines up though, with like I said, it probably just translates the letters into something else. Is my guess,
Yeah.
because that's how a bunch of they do a bunch of those language things is they just replace it, and once you figure out what the symbols mean, that a circle really
Mhm.
means the letter A or something like that. Anytime a circle appears, it means the letter A.
If it's all
Mhm.
just like straight alphabet, that'd be easier, but I'm sure it's probably like Japanese or Chinese where a symbol can mean a whole phrase or something.
Yeah.
See,
I will say
that'd be
this,
cool.
and I don't know if it's the same in Smallville, but I do know Kryptonian can be translated in James Gunn's Superman. So maybe it could be
How have I
in
not heard
Smallville.
that?
Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't heard that. With as much of the stuff I've listened about that movie. Anyway, that's cool. It'll be interesting to learn more of Clark's heritage and everything as we go on with this. I think it was a good start to his journey here. It was a good
Yeah.
start to Lex's journey.
There was
Getting
that cemetery scene I thought that was good,
Mhm.
yeah.
where he meets or sees Lana there. Lana, sorry. I'll get it down. First time hearing. Yeah, I'll get it down. Hopefully by next week I'll have it memorized.
Yeah, we see Clark victim to the Smallville tradition. And we run into the episode was setting up, but then he really doesn't do a whole much until the very end of this character. I don't remember his name, but the bad guy of the episode.
Whitney.
Oh, it was like Jeremy or something.
Oh, Jeremy. Okay.
Was it? I don't know.
I don't remember. I think
Yes, his name's Jeremy Creek.
There we go.
I can remember Jeremy, but I can't remember other names.
There we go. But no, it was interesting seeing Jeremy. That's not a name that I recognized. I don't know if that's an original character or if that's actually somebody from the comics that they pulled. But it did very much seem like a generic villain, it's just DC's version of Electro was the vibes I got from him.
You know what I like so far that I noticed that made me think of with Clark being with the Scarecrow is that this Lex does not appear right now, at least just for this episode, what we've seen to be evil or corrupt.
Right.
Because when he saw Clark tied up, he was like, "Oh, Clark, crap! I gotta help you."
Yeah.
But it didn't seem like he was helping him to get something out of it. So.
Yeah.
My guess is, obviously he'll develop into an evil Lex, but he's not evil right now. At least is how it appears to me, at least.
Yeah. I don't know at what point this started because it's something I've been curious about is looking up when the comics started exploring the possibility of the origin where Clark and Lex were friends in Smallville for a while. And so I don't know if it started before or after the show. I would think there would have been something before the show, but I could be wrong. Because like I said, I generally don't know when the idea started, but it is one of those ideas that certain writers love the idea of exploring it. Like, for example, Mark Waid loves to explore the idea of them being, friends in childhood, back from here, big part of his Superman birthright. Or we also see it explored a bit in Superman's Secret Origin, which me and Steve did a Comic Den episode of.
Nice.
Where we talked about all that. And so, we've seen this idea come up a bit of times, but those are all both more recent examples, after the show would have come out. So I'm not sure when. I'm going to have to look that up afterwards to see when that started. Definitely curious about that.
But I like that idea, and I think too, and like you said earlier, Spencer, I realized how few DC shows I've seen. So to see a different take is kind of nice. It feels like even though the show is over 20 years old, it feels new.
It's over 20 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. 2001, so that'd be 20. Next year will be 25 years.
Stop reminding me of mortality. Thank you.
That's older than both me and Spencer.
Wow. This not going to confirm or deny that. totally
I
true.
do want to say though that one, I definitely agree with you. It's a fascinating idea to pair the two of these people as friends before enemies, and like to see the how and why they become enemies. But I also want to say that, like, okay, so the scene where he's like tied up as the Scarecrow is after the scene where Clark returns the truck keys. Like, he can't accept Lex's gift. And during that scene, Lex asks Clark, "Do you believe a man can fly?" And there is that whole thing, and this is kind of a standard with Smallville, that they do kind of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge things about Superman. And so this is definitely one of those lines. But at the same time, it kind of like, again, without spoiling anything, it kind of like really, really cements the idea of why Lex becomes so attached to Clark. And like you're saying, Andrew, that's like, oh, he just helps him without, like there's no nefariousness, no hesitation. Yeah, which is true. But at the same time, that scene where he tells him, he's like, oh, well, because Clark responds, people can't fly, Lex,
Yeah.
And so he's like, I did. And so he talks about, the experience that he had after the car crash, and that his heart stopped, and then he flew, and it was the most exhilarating feeling he had ever felt. And he flew over Smallville, and this place, this destination that was basically, he was sent there by his father, and that this was kind of like a dead end road for him from his perspective. He's like, this became a new opportunity, and I have a new beginning, and I have you to thank for that, Clark. And so I rewatched this episode just a couple months ago, and when I watched that scene again, I was just like, man, it's sounding like for him that this was like a religious experience.
Yeah.
And so to attach Clark to that is then it's just brings another really interesting facet to it.
Yeah, that is.
It's a good take. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was really really cool for sure. I do
What do
really
you know,
like the ideas
Ian?
of that.
What are you foreshadowing here?
I don't know anything.
No, yeah, exactly.
No, it perfectly lines up, with the whole, idea of sometimes when people, think of Superman as a particular religious figure, and so it's interesting to see.
I mean, he's
alluding to
silhouetted
that
against an angel in the cemetery.
This is true as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we do. You're right. Like we do get some like subtle things here and there. I didn't think about that directly, but you're right.
I'm sure there's a lot that even as this season goes on, especially for me and Spencer, we're gonna look back on this pilot episode and go, "Oh, they were foreshadowing that," or "Oh, that was that." So that'll be cool once that happens.
And there's definitely just a lot of allusions to the Superman mythos in general and the history. Like the name of their high school paper, the Smallville Torch. It was also the name of the school paper where Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the creators of Superman, worked in high school.
Oh wow, that's cool.
That's cool. That's a very cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I never knew. I knew that they like worked on like writing. I didn't know like what it was called though. So that's cool. That's a very cool. I do hope to see the show make some other references here and there to not just the original creators, but the other big like Superman writers at some point.
Oh, they already have. The bridge that Clark
This is why it's
knocked
great
off
having
of-
Ian on though, 'cause you know, right? Like,
The bridge that Clark gets knocked off of is called Loeb Bridge, and that's named after Jeff Loeb, who is a big writer for Superman comics.
Superman for
oh,
all
I definitely
seasons.
noticed that. Yeah.
And he also is a writer on Smallville for several episodes.
Oh, that's really cool.
Nice.
See, he worked on the Daredevil show for a bit. I don't know if
Oh, he
talked
did.
about
Okay,
that.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
Which one?
And the Netflix Daredevil show.
Okay.
But yeah, yeah, his name's in the credits there. So if you like look at it there, he's also the writer, since we were talking about it, of my favorite ever Batman story here, Halloween, which coming out this Halloween, which
Shameless
is
plug.
under a week of recording. There's the Batman: The Long Halloween read-through video where we're going to be covering through the first issue of Batman: The Long Halloween, which we read all together, having a fun voiced little comic there. So be sure to check that out when it should be coming out on Halloween.
Nice.
And also, Jeff Loeb's a really nice guy.
Is that your signed copy?
This is my signed copy. I was trying to get to the page where he signed it,
Nice.
and there it is. Right there. To
That's awesome.
Spencer, happy Halloween, Jeff Loeb, and he drew a little Joker there. I didn't even tell him about me loving Joker or anything. I just, you could pay like a tiny bit extra and he'll doodle, and I was like, heck yeah, I want one of my favorite writers to doodle and my favorite Batman story, and
That's cool.
he just did Joker. So, yeah.
Nice.
That aside, that is cool that they pay homage to. I think he is a great writer. I haven't been disappointed by anything I've read from his, but there's also a lot of work of his I need to read as well. I know particularly a huge comic writer, like argument could be made that he's the biggest ever Superman writer, is Dan Jurgens, which I'd love to see homage to him at some point in the series. That's a personal one that I
just started reading his work.
Yeah, I would like to start from the beginning of his work, of like his prime Superman era stuff, and so like he's the one responsible for the death of Superman, which is like the biggest Superman.
Oh wow.
So responsible for Doomsday and
That
other
makes
big
more
stuff as
sense
well.
then, because what I just read, it's part of the Rebirth era, and so it's in Action Comics, and they brought back Doomsday. So, and it was written by him, so it makes sense then.
They've also wildly off topic now, which I realized, but DC's done a huge change with Doomsday's backstory, which is I find it interesting, but that's a conversation for another day. If anybody ever wants to talk DCKO, let me know. Anyway, back to Smallville
Doomsday
and stuff.
Origins. There could be some Smallville links there.
But we'll talk more after this.
One more at least connection between this episode and other Smallville media that I can remember anyways. So the scene where Clark is outside of the school and there's all those pickup trucks there and he decides to stack them up.
Yeah.
That is a callback to a scene from Superman 2, directed by Richard Donner. Clark does the same thing to the truck of this jerk from a diner. So
there we go.
Yeah.
Shout out to Superman 2.
Yeah.
Movie. Joe said there are worse ways to find out you're an alien. There's worse ways you can find out.
What do you think about like his reaction? Do you think that that's like as realistic as you can be, since it's a TV show and you have to make allowances for things? But do you think that he reacted realistically enough to this idea?
I think so for a teenager, if you really think about that mindset. Because I don't think he believes it at first.
Would you? I mean,
no. I mean, yeah.
I mean, he's got superpowers, so it's like,
yeah. Yeah, maybe
But
a little
other
bit,
than
but
that, like you look like
right.
you feels like you belong there. So like,
I just thought I was eating enough of my Wheaties.
Right. Exactly.
oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I think that's a lot to process because even if he thought it
true.
at some point or speculated it, to actually hear that it's true probably makes him take a step back and is like, I am different. Like I'm not normal, you know? Um, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's a good way to look at it. I agree. Sure. Um, see here. Anything else that we have to really touch on that I could think of for this episode?
Do you think so we're talking about like beginnings of relationships, like beginning with Clark and Lex. Um Another big relationship that is part of Superman's life is Lana Lang. So
Mhm.
what do you think about her character, her origins here, and like how they've portrayed that relationship between them?
They've definitely set it up as a beginning for for them to get together. It was interesting. Like I felt like unless I just like completely read it wrong, it seemed like it was like Clark was like daydreaming about her. Well, night dreaming, I
Yeah.
guess, about her. And so it was like okay, it's interesting to see like this. It's interesting to see a Clark portrayed in the way that we always know a Clark, where a bunch of people feel like the Clark he puts on when he's at the Daily Planet is a mask to Superman being his true self. Like, this is a whole debate of like, does he put on a mask when he's Superman? Does he put on a mask when he's Clark Kent? You know? And it's interesting to see that in this case, him always having these Clarkisms. That's always been part of him. And so I found that interesting of seeing like,
Mm-hmm.
it really is himself and not him putting on this mask to be Clark Kent when he's always had these parts of who Clark is. He's not trying to be overly goofy. That's just who he is.
Mhm.
And so it's cool to see that beginning here and, to set up this whole story going forward. It gives it a whole, teen drama aspect for this to hold, go on for all these seasons and relationship high school drama that we're going to get, obviously. So we'll see what happens as far as all that goes. But I think it sets up for a solid foundation for it to be a good branching off point for where the series can go. Leaving a bunch of possibilities. 10
Mm-hmm.
seasons is a lot, and I'm sure it's one of those many things where it does a lot with.
And Andrew, you pointed out that the cemetery scene
Mm-hmm.
was one of your favorites, and this follows, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't just rewatch it like you guys did. But this follows pretty much right after, I think, when he is at the torch with Chloe and Pete, and he sees
Mm-hmm.
Chloe's wall of weird that she's been amassing, and we
Yeah,
can
with everything that's been affected since the meteors. Yeah.
and he sees Lana,
Mm-hmm.
and so he's like, he realizes that, I mean, it's
He
not,
basically killed her
but he
parents.
thinks
Yeah.
it's his fault that, yeah,
Yeah.
her parents are gone.
Yeah, because he
Does
even
the
says to
cemetery scene
himself,
follow that
yeah.
directly?
I believe so, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, because he even kind of whispers to himself that he was like, it's my fault. And I'm pretty sure, I think it cuts to that. I'm pretty sure. Or maybe the scene right after. Like there may be another one. But yeah, I just thought that was a cool scene with them together because this is my introduction to her character. So I was thinking earlier after the episode, 10 seasons, assuming it's kind of like a year time jump. I wonder, I don't want to be spoiled, obviously, but I wonder if Lois ever appears in the show, like towards the end. Like, I don't know when he starts, if he works at the Daily Planet in this show or not. So I'd be curious to see how this relationship grows and stuff. So, yeah.
Mhm. But was there a point in that scene that I don't know if it's like made him feel better about it, but like they definitely made a connection.
They really bonded, yeah.
So yeah.
Especially because she mentions that like she talks with her parents, and there's kind of a moment of silence, and then he starts talking as if he can hear, you know, like he's playing
Right.
along, and
Right.
I think that really added to their. Because then he asked her if she's going to the dance, and she's like, "Well, yeah," with whatever her boyfriend's name was,
Whitney.
Whitney. That's right, yeah. And he's like, "Oh," and then she's like, "But I'll save you a dance." So there's
Right.
definitely some flirtation going on there. Yeah.
But it's also good, like, I mean, he did that, like, as you said, he like played along, but he did it in such a way that was like not mocking her at all.
No, yeah.
And it's like, you know, it gained a lot of respect.
Mm-hmm.
And also, as we learned, this is like the closest they've been able to get to each other. Like they've grown up in the same town. But she's always had that necklace.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we see that she gives it to Whitney to
Mhm.
wear as like a good luck charm. And so, yeah, this is like the first real conversation that they've ever really got to have.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think Clark notices in this scene that that's why. Because again, he doesn't know what kryptonite is.
Nope.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to when he finds out, like when that is, you know, or what that is. I mean, but yeah,
Yeah, gonna be exciting to see how these relationships, you know, grow and everything. Is there's a lot, you know, to go through. You know, we're seeing all this stuff, such as what Joe just commented here a minute ago, saying Lex and Clark equals frenemies. 100% right. That
mm-hmm.
is, you know, that is kind of like the modern interpretation of their relationship nowadays. Uh, you know, they have to work together a lot of times and not always good with each other. So it'd be interesting to see where they go with it, you know, in the show. I think that's probably what I'm looking most forward to, is seeing their
Mhm.
relationship specifically in this show. But it'll also be cool to see, you know, what else comes of this. As you know, there's 10 seasons of this stuff. I have
Yeah,
no idea what to expect with a lot of it. There's a couple things I know, and I'm not going to say what because I don't want to spoil anything Andrew doesn't know. But like, you
exactly.
know,
Yeah, no spoilers.
I know of a thing or two, and other than that thing or two, I don't know what else to expect. So
I mean, the first shot gives you some hint about some future things.
asteroids coming.
Nope. The
Oh, is it true?
newspaper that Lionel is reading.
Oh, interesting.
Because technically the show does very much begin with.
Let's see.
Oh, look at that!
We're gonna start seeing a 0.25 speed.
I
and
know,
just
right?
frame for frame.
I do like
Yeah,
the
so when the
Smallville sign at the very beginning. That's a nice Queen Industries. CEO missing prison. See, that's an interesting tie-in right there. I wasn't even paying attention to that when I first watched. Not gonna lie, it
It was fast.
I don't
was
even know
fast. To be
what
fair,
is Queen Industries. I'm blanking on that.
Do you know who Oliver Queen is?
Oh yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
yeah.
I should have been able to put two and two together there.
Yeah.
Fake
Lines
fan.
if you've watched Arrow, that like lines up with, you know,
Okay. Yeah.
it's, you know, first season of that show especially. I've only seen 2 seasons of that show, but like the first season of that show, you know, like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, there you go.
So, yeah, cool.
But it's the paper is the Daily Planet. So that's
That's
Yeah.
that's
that's
another
a
cool
fun
connection
nod.
there.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of like another character that we haven't talked about, we've got Chloe. And as far as I know, she was an original character with this show. I know she's been, I think, included in some later comics. But yeah, I won't say whether or not Lois ever appears, but Chloe is kind of at least here she's kind of taking that like role as being like someone very inquisitive. You know, she's got this whole wall of all these articles pasted up about all these mysterious happenings. So yeah, they're kind of having her there without having her there, you know.
That makes sense. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. That you know, that's a core part of what we think of with Clark's relationship in general. You know, having that Lois figure. So it'll be interesting to see how they parallel. I do hope. One of the things I hope they don't do too much of is trying to make her be like Lois when it's obviously not Lois.
Right.
But try to have Lois-isms here and there. You know what I mean? Of like, I don't want them to have a Lois that's not Lois. It's like, come on, you know? I don't know. You need to make it important that, like, you know, this is his time in Smallville. He's not in Metropolis yet.
Right. Well, that's why I'm wondering, and I know we'll find out, obviously, as we get further into the show. But I wonder, I mean, 10 seasons, let's just say it's supposed to be 10 years. If he's 25.
Sure.
I'm not sure how old Superman is when he starts at the Daily Planet, usually. But 25 does seem a bit young.
I think at least in the Christopher Reeves Superman movie, the first one, I think I'm not sure when he leaves Smallville, if he leaves early, but if he's either 16 or 18, and then it's 12 years between that and when he goes to Metropolis, and because he goes to the fortress for 12 years and then comes back as Clark and Superman as the dual identity.
No, I get it. It's gonna end with him leaving for Metropolis. That's what it'll be there. I don't know. That's my pilot episode prediction.
Possibly. I will work on my stone face.
I'll find out in 3 or 4 years if I'm right or not.
Cool. All right. One character that we have not talked about is I don't remember his name, but Clark's friend,
Pete.
There we go. We haven't talked much about Pete so far.
He puts the whole show together.
Yeah, apparently he makes the show.
He was a good fun character. I know we've only seen one episode. Right here, I know viewers can't see it, but when he's putting on the football helmet, it just keeps falling on his face.
He's
determined, you know.
And very much like that Jimmy figure, you know. So
exactly.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I hope both of those characters don't too much chain, you know, play into. They need to evolve into their own characters while still giving those aspects of the characters, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
You're right. Even here, maybe it is they were trying to have that kind of triumvirate of Clark, Lois, Jimmy, without it being Clark, Lois, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Well, and that could show maybe why Clark ends up being such good friends with Jimmy and Lois, because maybe they remind him of Chloe and Pete.
Oh, that's sweet.
That could be
that idea.
Yeah, I just thought of that. So
yeah, that I do. You know what? That's a better way to look at it than how I was trying to approach it. So, you know,
but I don't want him to be full on like him.
No.
Yeah, not carbon copies.
Yeah.
I don't think that Pete ever picks up a camera, so I think we're fine
there.
There you go. That was the deal breaker.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. So I think there's a fair thing to say that naturally us as people do gravitate towards people of certain kinds, you know. So you know, that statement I think makes a lot of sense to, you know, have that sort of connection, which I like. So
yeah.
I know. I think overall though, this just in general is definitely a pretty good start. I'm excited to watch more of this though. You know, that's a lot for us to go through. It's going to be an exciting journey into many months. You know, many months, you know,
yeah.
I was going through it. Me and Andrew's first time. It'll be fun to you know, have some Smallville experts on to, you know, point out what we missed and whatnot.
It was a great pilot. I mean, I'm loving the feel of the show already. I'm really excited for what's next.
Yeah, me too.
And I do think, like you mentioned before, these are 22 episode seasons.
Yeah.
Unlike today where we get
right.
I won't get into that rabbit hole. But
Exactly.
but you were saying that you'd be hoping for all killer, no filler. And while I mean you might consider some things as like filler, I think you can really look at this show, at least for the first while, you can look at it as like comic book issues.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know,
Ooh, yeah.
that kind of just like maybe more one shots in some ways, but like the character arcs go through everything.
Yeah, sure.
hmm
Yeah, no, I think there's, we'll see what they do with it. I hope that it makes the fullest of what they can. It'll be fun to see where everything goes and everything. And maybe that's how we'll kind of play it off, is that they're each comic issues.
Yeah.
Is this issue 1, the pilot, was a good beginner. I quite enjoyed it. And so, but I don't know. Is there any lasting thoughts? I feel like we pretty much hit everything there is
I think
about the
we've covered
pilot.
it pretty good.
Is there anything else you want to bring up, Ian?
No, other than it was, it broke the record of being the most popular premiere, like highest rated
Oh,
premiere
wow.
for the WB.
Oh, okay.
And I think it held that record for the entirety of the network's life.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Okay.
And then it breaks a few more records, I think, with the CW, because it started on the WB, and then when the WB went defunct and it became the CW, Smallville was one of the series that moved over to kick off this new network in a big way. And so Smallville was one of the leading shows of that.
That's
so
cool.
it was popular, and I think
Yeah.
it's maintained that popularity throughout the years.
See, the WB network died on September 17th of 2006. And so
Wow.
I looked up, I was like, when the heck was this a thing? And
Yeah.
because I never heard of it. Like, so
But also like superhero shows, like live action superhero shows, weren't really a big thing before this. And like this really was what
True.
kind of became something huge. Like right after Smallville ended, the next year we got Arrow, and then we get the Flash, and then we get League of Legends.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff there. You're right. Like,
Yeah.
and even from Marvel, we never got. What was it?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was
I was
like
gonna
2
say,
years after
that was
this.
the first one, right? Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, for live act.
Yeah, like that's crazy that we never really got anything from Marvel either for a long time, and it took Avengers to kick that off.
Yeah.
So
Smallville
kind of gets credit for showing like how valuable this kind of thing can be as a TV product. Like it can work.
Yeah. This show has like been on my watch list, and I'm sure Spencer's too, for so long, and it's always been one of those, I'm gonna get to it. So now that we're finally getting to it, I'm definitely excited to watch it every week.
Be honest, if it wasn't for the show, it probably would have taken another several years for me to get to this. And so, on my own, like I'm not a big show watcher, and when it comes to all these seasons of being daunting, it's like it really is daunting to like go through and do this. And so that's one of those things that's like, I would like to slowly like watch through some of these old shows. Like I started watching Stargate a few months ago, or a couple of however long it was. And that's one of those things I want to slowly get through like this as well. And the reason I started that was because of separate motivation that's never happened. But, similar idea. But, it's fun to go back and see how things play out. And yeah, I'm just excited for where this podcast will go. I'm hoping that, we can keep it going for a while, go through so much of the show. And it'll be a fun time. So
I'm pretty sure once I told you that Jeff Loeb and Jeff Johns wrote episodes on the show, I think that kind of hooked you. At least that's what you said. You're like, oh, I have
that makes me more interested. That made me a lot more interested after you first told me that. Yes, because I am quite a big fan of both of those writers, for the most part. And so, yeah, no, definitely, that's exciting because they're both comic legends I look up to. And but yeah, I think that does it for this first episode of Before the Cape. Nicole here just said it's exciting to see you guys discovering Smallville. You know,
Mhm.
I'm glad that this, gives me and Andrew the opportunity. Like, I know we were just talking about it, but like I think it's going to be a fun time to explore this. I've never done something like this where I fully go through and explore something in a more, I was going to say episodical, which,
Mhm.
we are going to be doing here, but like, I think future episodes, we're going to look into trying to do multiple episodes in one. Obviously, the premiere gives us a lot to talk about because it's the premiere and
did,
starting about
yeah.
where things start, which makes sense, like why we put in an episode 2 in this as well. But where I'm excited to go through and talk about all this. And if you ever want to join us, Nicole, just let us know.
Yeah.
So, and to anybody else watching, I'm open to having guests and stuff on here. So. Be fun to figure things out and talk Smallville. So, and Before the Cape. So,
Very cool name, by the way.
yeah, credit to Ian. I'm
Thank you, Ian. Yeah.
not even gonna lie. Credit to Ian for coming up with such an awesome name very quick. Because me and Andrew were talking about it a little bit, and then the
We were
moment I
both
asked
like,
Ian, he came back fairly quick with that answer. As far as
I even told Spencer, I was like, "That's way better than anything I was thinking of."
Right, and I
What
was
were you
thinking the
thinking?
same thing.
Like,
So-
I don't know, like Smallville Radio popped into my head. I was like, I don't know. I kind of just asked AI. I was like, "Give me names," and it kept doing like Superman in the title. I'm like, that doesn't really fit. So,
Yeah.
Before the Cape is nice. 'Cause
If it's a nice,
fitting.
it's a nice
Yeah.
subtle, thing. So I like it very
Yeah.
much. So, but yeah, thank you everybody so much for joining on this first episode of Before the Cape. I appreciate anybody who tuned in at any moment of us, as this one went on for a bit. Not gonna lie, but thank you everybody. See you all hopefully next week, because this is going to try to be a weekly thing as best we can. Make sure to follow Dingus Den on the socials, at Dingus Den on Twix, Twitter/X. I do a very poor job of posting anywhere else, so maybe at some point I'll start posting on other places, but that'll be the main place for now. But yeah, Andrew, what do you have coming up this week?
Yeah, I'll try to go through this fast because I have a lot. Tomorrow night on the Game and Focus YouTube channel, we'll be going live to discuss Whiplash, which I'm looking forward to.
Thank you for reminding me about that. I should watch that and join you all.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna watch it tomorrow, so we're finally getting around to it.
Glad I haven't watched it yet.
Yes, same boat here. Monday night on the Feast of Phantoms YouTube channel, we'll have MCU Mondays. We'll be discussing Jessica Jones season 2, I think episode 5, and then Thursday night on the Cantina Happy Hour, we're doing Clone Wars. I believe it's season 2, episode 10. Yeah.
Nice, very
The-
cool.
Is that the Deserter?
Hold
It
on.
might be. I'll have to double
Hold
check.
on. If you know that, hold on. I gotta fact check this really quick, because if you just pull that off like that,
I'd be like, wow.
Yeah.
Don't foresee in trivia. I'll tell you that.
Are you, Ian? Do you just have like a natural grasp for typically getting like episode titles and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
I like it.
But
Honestly,
it's
yeah.
either that or something with Dooku, but I'm pretty sure it's
I think we're doing episode 10. I missed last week, so I don't remember.
I'm
what
pretty
episode
sure it's the
we did.
Deserter, and then
Yeah.
Grievous Intrigue follows that. But I could be wrong.
I am saying. Oh, wait, you said
No, wait,
season
Grievous
2.
Intrigue is number
Mhm.
9.
That's right. Yeah.
And
You
then
are
they
100% right about
Then they
this.
crash.
Grievous
land on
Intrigue is
Seleucamai
9.
and
The Deserter is 10.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's a good episode. I think it's the first episode that we see commando droids.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Those early Clone Wars episodes, while they're not, in my opinion, as great as some of the stuff later on, they still are.
Yeah.
There's some really good stuff in those
There
early
is,
episodes
yeah.
people overlook, and so it's cool that you all are going through it. And I absolutely love the
It's
show.
been a fun rewatch so far. So yeah.
Yeah, so go check out. I don't think I linked it in this video. No, I didn't. I will make sure to link your all's Feast of Fandom stuff going forward. So make sure to go check that out. I know, terrible me.
Well, I'm done with these Smallville shows, so one and done.
Damn it.
I'm retiring.
One episode in.
Yeah.
Ian,
Oh,
what do
man.
you have anything that you want to shout out?
I mean, I have a lot of stuff going on, but like not like stuff that anyone could like watch or anything. So
Gotcha. No worries. Just figured I'd ask, and if there ever is, feel free to shout it out. At the end of whenever we do these. So,
okay.
let's see. Up on the Dingus Den, I guess the next main thing is Halloween, which I believe is on Friday.
Yeah,
I believe
it
that's
is.
what it
Yeah.
is. I will be working on getting up issue 1 read through of Batman: The Long Halloween out on that Friday. So I will be focusing a bit on editing over the next few days while I don't have any other worries to to edit that in up together so we can have a full read through video ready for you all to watch. And so that'll be fun. I'm gonna try to release all those as we go. Nicole is part of it.
Nice.
Yeah. So anybody ever want to be any voices for any comic read-throughs, please let me know. But yeah, I don't know if I have anything else coming on. I know there was plans for another comic club I'd be recording next week, but I don't know if that's still happening or not. It might be, so stay tuned. But more content will be coming out. Yesterday, I did drop a new comic club of Flash and Green Lantern, The Brave and the Bold, which was a pretty good read. Definitely an interesting story, especially for the time it came out in. And so,
1990.
yeah. Here, let's put it this way: it's a story about how Jordan and Barry Allen were in that time of comics. They were dead, and they didn't come back for several years later. So that's why I say it's an interesting time for that. So, but yeah, I think that's it. Thank you everybody for watching this awesome premiere episode of Before the Cape.
Mhm.
Was a lot of fun. Hopefully see you all next week for more Smallville talk. And make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, as I, for whatever reason, always forget at the end when I need to do it at the beginning. Laters, everybody. Have a good one.